Started. Good. So, hi there, and welcome everyone to Happy Life Habits, Inspiration Point, Series 3, Episode 4 with Hansa Pankhania. And this is our series dedicated to women, to International Women's Day, and to Mother's Day. So that's what we're working with. So really, warm welcome to you all. And as usual, I would like to just take that checkpoint and ask, on the scale of 0 to 10, but not using the number 7, but allowing for fractions and decimals, where are you right now? What is your happiness level? And if you just take a moment to think of that for yourself, and you can drop it in the chat, that's cool. And as a reminder to everyone, everyone's number is unique to them. It's everyone's is different. So do not worry if your number is less than someone else's or higher than someone else's, because your own scales are all different. And the key thing here is by taking this checkpoint and seeing what our number is, it allows us a couple of things. One, it raises our awareness to see, really make us stop and think, what are we feeling? Where are we right now? 2, it gives us the option of choice to choose if we're comfortable with the number we're at, or if we want to shift it going upwards. And if we want to shift it going upwards, there's a variety of things we can do. And the key thing is taking action. And right now, if you want to lift your number up a little bit, just put a smile on your face. And that will help lift it. But also, all the things we teach in Happy Life Habits are there to help lift that number up. And if you need any assistance with raising your number, feel free to get in touch with any of the services we offer. So that's great. And a nice range of numbers there. And yeah, this was a quote we were going to share, another one which we had from last week when we had our session with Mary, but we didn't share this one, but I'll just put it out there, which is I think a quite nice one. And it says, "We are all doing great work in our own unique way. It is wonderful when our paths cross with like-minded people and we're able to work together with synergy and a win-win mindset." And that's very much, the ethos of what we're working with this project and just in general with what we're doing with Happy Life Habits. So, ground rules. The session is being recorded, so if you could put your mobiles on silent for the duration, if you can stay on mute, and your videos off during the interview section. But when we come to the Q&A, you can have your videos on, you can ask questions via the chat or directly. So I'm Shane Shah, happiness coach, trained in the science of happiness, and through Happy Life Habits, positively impacting people's happiness and well-being levels. And Inspiration Point is one of our projects where we are working with the idea of inspiring, positive, extraordinary people, sharing their journey, their challenges, and turning points, and daily habits and learning from personal development, happiness, and spirituality. And as people share these, as they share their journeys and their challenges, what we recognize is some of the similarities to our own journeys, and also some differences, and it can give us a positivity and inspiration to overcome any hurdles we face and to be reminded of some of the good things that we've already got happening in our lives. And the Inspiration Point podcast is based on a set of 9-10 core questions, which we ask each and every person who comes on for the interview. And what we tend to see as, now that we're on Series 3, Episode 4, is there is some commonality there, some similarity in what people are sharing, but there is a uniqueness as well. And that is, what I think I really relish with this, where you're seeing some commonality and you relate to it, you're seeing some different new ideas and uniqueness, which can help spring ideas for us. So that's what we're working with. The whole series sponsored by Balance Consultancy, so we're really grateful to Balance Consultancy for sponsoring the full series. And that series is made up of 6 episodes. And as I mentioned, we're on episode 4. So we're 2/3 of the way through. We've had Anjuman, we've had Sasha, we've had Mary, and this week we've got Hansa. Next week we've got Solo, and thereafter we finish with Karupa. And all there's a snippet of the information here, and on the website there's more information against each of the episodes on each of the individuals. So to introduce Hansa, so I'll share the story of how I met Hansa. So autumn of last year, I joined a webinar call of a book launch that someone I knew was launching their book. And I joined them to give them some support and just see how these things are happening and working. And the next day or a few days later, I had an email come through, Hansa introducing herself, saying she was on this book launch as well. And either the name Happy Life Habits or the logo, sparked curiosity. And it must have visited the website and reached out to say, let's just have a chat and connect. So we arranged a catch-up, a Zoom call, and we spoke, and she mentioned that, she's here in London, in Surrey, but she used to be in Birmingham. I goes, oh, Birmingham, I know someone in Birmingham. I said, my mummy is there, Anju Mummy, who was in episode 1 of this series. And it being a small one, Hansa said she knows Anju Mummy. They've worked together in some of the activities that Anju Mummy had shared off the Mandir and the Hindu network and that kind of thing. And that Hansa, was singing during Navaratri there. So they know each other really well and have known each other for years. So again, the way the world is and the universe is, these connections, coming through and us meeting up in that way. And yeah, we had a great conversation and understood a lot better what Hansa is doing, of the work she's doing in the world of stress, in writing and authoring, and even in setting up a wellbeing centre. So thereafter, we've kept in touch and caught up a couple of times. Hansa's come to all of these inspiration points of this series, and a couple from last time. And she also, joined us for being one of the sharers in the International Day of Happiness, which we celebrated a couple of weeks ago. So we worked together a little bit here and there. So a couple of things is her background is, working in stress, resilient, and a wellbeing expert. She's an author, a number of books under her belt, both novels as well as ones in the stress arena, and also some for that she's written for children. So we'll hear more about those and some of the books which are in the pipeline. So she helped in Birmingham in the City Council to help set up stress-related activities there, and continues to do that through AUM, Wellbeing, the consultancy that she has with a network of other people. So helping to, share the message of how to deal with stress, both into the corporate world and elsewhere. So as mentioned, published 5 books, and one of them is Stress to Success. She's written a memoir, Best of 3 Worlds, which I think is talking about India, Kenya, and UK kind of migration, but we'll hear a bit more about that. And like I said, set up the Om Centre of Wellbeing in Birmingham, and this was inspired by Deepak Chopra. He's got a wellbeing centre in the US, which Hansa's visited a few times, and that's been the inspiration for this. And she herself has experienced stress of relationships and deaths in a close succession, which also helped, I think, her on this path of looking into different tools and techniques for dealing with stress. So that, in short, is a quick introduction to Hansa. So stress expert, author, and promoting well-being in a variety of ways. So really warm welcome, Hansa. Great to have you with us, and thank you for joining us. And just to mention, Hansa did share that she's been on a few Zoom calls already today, so the voice might be a little bit strained on that, but we will give her the energy to project that voice and fully engage this evening. So great to have you with us.
Great to be here, Shailene. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And yeah, like I said, it was an interesting story of how we first connected and met. So that's great. So I think we'll just launch straight into it and ask, what makes you happy?
Okay. Well, firstly, can I say hello to everyone? It's great to see you all. Thank you for joining us here today. And I hope you're all cozy where you are on your sofas or chair or bed, wherever you're listening from. So good to see you. What makes me happy, Shailene? I would say, making a difference to other people, nature, music, all the little things, that the universe sends us from a day-to-day basis. Because happiness is a perception and attitude. So it depends on how you view it. You can have everything and be miserable, and you can have very little and be very happy. So I choose to be happy with whatever little I have in the moment. So it could be anything from the beautiful sunshine, or the laugh of my grandchild, or a client saying my input has been helpful to them. All those little miracles that we're blessed with every day.
Yes, no, that's fantastic. And your move from Birmingham to London was driven by the grandchildren aspect. So I know they are very close to you, and that you spend a lot of time on weekends or weekdays helping to look after and spend time with them. So that's wonderful. What are you currently doing that inspires you?
My main passion is to pass on natural stress relief techniques, because that's what I did in my research, and they helped me a lot with my stressful times through my life. So my passion is to pass this to managers and adults and children to help them to be healthy and happy. So I'm always looking for inspiring projects, one after the other. Whatever will make me help me live my passions. So to be specific, at present, my team and I are working with the main influencers in society, which is parents, schools, and managers. So at the moment, I'm working on 2 more children's books, helping them to be happy and healthy by using natural proven techniques. And this is to complete the trilogy of my first children's book, which is the Chakraji and Calm Kalam. And the next 2 are the ones that we're working on are Chakraji and Relaxed Ravina, and Chakraji and Peaceful Peter, which will be launched in June, I hope. The other thing that I'm very inspired by at the moment is our setup of a monthly well-being forum for managers to help them to deal with the challenges that they're going on at the moment. With the pandemic, we know a lot of managers are struggling. So we've just set up this monthly forum for managers to help them to create better working environments and to cope with all the challenges that they're facing. So those are my 2 specific inspiring projects at the moment.
Awesome. And with the first book, the Chakraji and Calm Kalam, what's the essence of it? And what's the driver behind it? What's the message you're trying to bring through?
So obviously I've written a book for adults on helping them to be stress-free and resilient. And I had been concerned for some time about the rising stress levels in children. So I wanted to pass these same very simple techniques to children as well, to help them to avoid having mental health issues in later life. So basically the story is of a little boy called Callum, and he's taken to the magical Chakraji, who passes the magic of how to deal with the stressful situation that he is facing at that given time. And then he comes back and he uses that magic and to make sure his upset is gone. And we're using imaginative storytelling and loads of beautiful illustrations. So it's a beautiful flamingo that takes Callum to this beautiful rainbow where Chakraji, who is our main character, the spiritual magical character, is sitting there. And then the Chakraji passes the magic. And then the flamingo helps Callum with affirmations to complement the magic that Chakraji has passed on to Callum. And by putting this into practice, he is able to work through his upset.
Excellent. So it's a way of teaching children how to deal with uncertainty and challenge and stress.
Yeah.
And through that, with the affirmations and with what Chakraji shares, they build up their mindset and their tool set to deal with it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So how long have you been working in the stress related sector? Or sharing about dealing with stress?
Yeah, okay. So I went to university as a mature student, and the time that I was at university, I was going through a very stressful period. And so I had some problems with my in-laws, and my dad died at the same time. My best friend died at the same time. I had a young family, full-time work, university, there's just so much going on. So I decided to do research for my dissertation. And I found that the techniques that I was researching, so for example, on a given day, I was working on a particular relaxation practice, and a technique, and I would practice that towards as I'm writing my thesis. And I found that it was really making a big difference to my stress levels. So this is how my passion for stress and resilience work started, because I saw that was working for me. And then I wanted to pass this to as many people as I could. And that's how my career as a stress consultant and trainer started. I'm also a trained counselor and therapist, so I use those, the foundation of that as well. And then I did some additional training to work in the corporate field with managers, and actually that's what I've been doing so far.
So how many years ago did this?
About 25 years, yeah.
So you've been in the field for 25 years, so doing. Yeah. And what was the course you were studying at university?
So I was doing psychology, then I did counseling after that, and I did a couple of diplomas in stress management training. I studied for about 12 years as a mature student, one after the other. I was doing different things. Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So that naturally kind of, I think, leads us on to, if you want to tell us more about, the journey, the challenges and major turning points. So you started, I think, mentioning a few life challenges all happening at the same time. If you want to tell us more about how you dealt with some of those challenges and some of the other turning points you may have faced.
Okay, yeah. So my journey, my upbringing and challenges. Okay. So on a personal level, I was born in Kenya. I had a very happy, carefree childhood. I had problems after I got married a little bit with my in-laws, as I've said. And the main issue there was that I did not know how to deal with my anger and my emotions, because when as an Asian woman you are told to be passive and to look after everybody in your in-laws family, and and to disregard, to put everybody else's needs first, basically, and to be very tolerant. So I didn't know how to deal with this anger, and so because the anger built up over a few years, I started to have some health problems, and some difficulties. And then, I kind of learned through my university process and the personal development process that I went through university, I learned to process my negative emotions and to ensure that I didn't bottle these up, because that the bottle is going to burst at some point. Yeah. And now, I want to help people not to do that, and I have constructive ways of working through their anger, sadness, frustration, disappointment, whatever it is, and not to bottle it up, because that's one source of stress that can cause a lot of complications for you. Yes. I've written about all this in my memoir, The Best of Three Worlds, which was published a few years ago. So I've written in detail about all these things in there. Okay, so that life journey part is captured. Yeah. And okay. in terms of my career and challenges there, so in terms of my professional journey and career, setting up my consultancy and wellbeing center. So well, actually, even before that, I think an interesting story is, like you said, after university, embarking on this journey, and I think you shared with me the work you did at the city council. I think that's an interesting one to hear about, if you want to start from there and then move on to the consultancy. Sure. Okay. Yeah, sure. So that was a very a big turning point in my life, because because I had the expertise in stress consultancy in my role. So I was working in the in-house staff welfare team with Birmingham City Council, and something happened where they realized that they needed a stress policy across the council. And at that time, the council had 50,000 employees. And nobody in the training department, human resources, health and safety had the expertise to take on that project. So a couple of my colleagues and myself were leading that project to cascade stress management and well-being through the whole of the council. So I wrote all the training programs for managers. I delivered the program. I trained the trainers in that training. I wrote guidance for the intranet, the council intranet. So in fact, I was part of the steering group that was made up of health and safety, unions, HR, senior management team, to cascade the project through the whole city council. And that gave me the confidence to set up my consultancy. So after that project, I set up my consultancy. I mean, the prompt of the consultancy was actually going to the Deepak Chopra Center in 2004. So I went there, and when I came back, I was kind of a complete idiot. So if you're telling me about what one of the challenges was, then I had this bee in my bonnet about setting up my own center, like the one that Deepak Chopra had, and I gave up a really well-paid, secure job where I was respected, and I was needed in that post, very valued in the post, and I just gave that up to set up the center. And the actual the next few years after that were extremely challenging for the reason that I had no experience in setting up a business, and I was a complete novice at it. I didn't have a single clue on how to do it, on setting up a business, running a business, and all the things that go with it. Nobody in my family is a business person, so I absolutely had no clue about it. So the first few years were, quite challenging. So I had a few sleepless nights about how I'd pay the overheads, but eventually, I did make a success of it, and it is still running under another name after all these years. So, but that was very challenging.
And what kind of things happened at the Wellbeing Centre? What kind of activities? And
so we had two parts to the Wellbeing Centre. So one part was the consultancy, where we were running training on well-being, stress management, resilience, all sorts of things. And then the other part was hands-on interventions like massage, acupuncture, homeopathy. Then we had a shop where we used to sell books and merchandise on related products. We had a studio for yoga and Pilates and that. We had a training room. So we had some individual rooms for the one-to-one massage and counseling and those kind of things. Then we had a few larger rooms for training, and then a very big studio for yoga and larger training events. And then upstairs we had the offices where we used to run the consultancy. So the consultancy is still going, even though I've moved to Surrey. And at some point I would, love to set up a wellbeing centre in Surrey, and actually did send an email to a few people to ask them if, with the pandemic, if there were any vacant properties that they wanted to give away and donate for the wellbeing centre. So I'm kind of sending that out at the moment, and if anybody knows anybody who can help with that, that would be great.
Fantastic. No, it sounds like the kind of place I'd like to hang out to. So
yeah, and I think it's much needed, isn't it? Because people want somewhere to go where they are taken care of, and they have a choice of different things that they can try out in terms of their health and well-being. I mean, kind of natural interventions, rather than turning to alcohol or drugs or sugary food, which we sometimes do. So, people are looking for this. I know they're looking for this, So it would be great if that happened, Shailene.
Yeah, no, awesome. Did the place have a cafe and food?
Yes, so it didn't have a cafe, but the intention was that it would. And there was a restaurant next door, and we were trying for the restaurant to kind of move somewhere so we could turn that space into a cafe. But while I was there, that didn't happen. Okay. It was a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it sounds like you had quite a good few things happening in that space, a good variety of things and stuff that was helping people explore and deal with things and meet various needs. So well done on that, and to have been inspired, from seeing it somewhere else and having that vision, and then like I said, giving up your core career to work on this passion project, as it were, is no easy task. To give up that security and to try out things for the first time, like you said, the business and stuff, and obviously all of that has helped to grow your learning and your understanding, enabling you to continue doing the work you do. So brilliant.
Yeah, in the current moment, there's been challenges as well, because writing my first book, trying to publish it, market it, when I did my first book was not easy, because again, I did not have a clue about any of these things, and I started right from scratch. So I learned on the job, and there were many moments where I was, literally kind of tearing my hair out. And thank God I've got thick hair, so I've got quite a bit still left, but I did have those moments where I was tearing my hair out and I wanted to give up. But here we are, after all these years, I've published several books and I feel quite comfortable where I am. But the initial journey, as an author and publisher had its challenges as well.
And one of the things you, I think, shared with me recently also was that some of the work you're helping to do at the moment is, was it crisis handling, correct?
The crisis management, yeah. So with the pandemic, I'm doing a lot of that. So it's basically, if there is a crisis in a company, in a business, then it's going to stress the staff out and it's going to impact on the productivity. So we go in and we do crisis debriefing. So we manage that situation and support the staff so that it doesn't impact on the running of the business. And there's so much happening with the pandemic. There are deaths in a family or someone who's got very serious mental health issues. There might be robberies. There might be an accident, on the shop floor. And so there's all sorts of critical incidents that happen in a company that might interrupt their flow of productivity and the services that they provide. So I go in and we diffuse and we support the staff. And sometimes it's different interventions for the employees, for the managers, and the work can be just for one day or it can be for several weeks until the situation settles down and the company gets back to normal. So
yep.
We have been very, very busy during the pandemic with that work.
Okay, that's good. I'm going to take it to a slightly different angle now. Can you tell us a little bit more about the non-work related stuff? So the singing and involvement in the community that you were involved with in Birmingham with Anja, Mami, and those kind of things. What kind of things were you doing? And
yes, I was was singing in a Bollywood band for about good 30 years or so. So kind of literally did anything and everything. So we did private functions, big stage shows, Garba, Bhajan, and I can sing in kind of all languages: Hindi, Gujarati, Swahili, English, Punjabi, Bengali,
oh, wow.
folk songs, anything, so whatever people would ask, we would prepare for that and perform. And I'm quite used to, hosting big events and kind of, singing at all sorts of venues. So we traveled a lot across the country. I think most of the communities in Birmingham, they knew us because we would perform for them at some point or another. So it was fun. It's a really nice outlet from my day job, because in my day job I'm dealing with stressed people all the time. I might be in a company where it's very fast paced with managers and all that, and then the singing is a really lovely outlet from all that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's one where the message to take away from this is, we have our working life, as it were, and that's an important aspect, but also just as important is the non-working life and doing the things which give us joy, which challenge us to in a nice way to some aspect, and also help us in many cases share that or serve others, whether it's paid for or volunteering, but having that impact and all of that, it definitely helps, as you say, being therapeutic as well as just uplifting and fulfilling and quite tangential to often heavy work crisis mode we can be in. So it's really important to
it's very important to look after yourself, if you're in a stressful job yourself. So it's having that healthy work-life balance, as you say.
And so, you're right. Yeah, and so for some it's singing, for others it's dance, for others it's sport, and sometimes, well, often it can be some sort of physical, activity, but also it can be acting or poetry or those kind of arts as well, which just gives a different vein to it, or learning and reading. So all of these are
any kind of creative activity is very, very important.
Awesome. Great. So what are some of your daily habits and routines that support you, that help you deal with the life stresses?
Okay, yeah. I'm not a gym person at all. I think a lot of people rely on the gym, but I've done yoga since I was 18 years old, almost about 4 to 5 times a week in the morning. So I get to do my yoga. If it's a nice day, I'll go for a long walk. I meditate every day. So since I went to the Deepak Chopra Center and I learned to meditate, I might miss my yoga on some days, but I never ever miss my daily meditation in the morning and in the evening. I go for walks in nature. I think connecting with nature is very important as well. Playtime with my grandchildren. So, I don't actually tell anyone, but that's my playtime too, because it's very important to play, whether you're an adult or a child. It's very important to have playtime, and I do a gratitude journal last thing at night, for all the wonderful small gifts that of the day that the universe blesses us with, so just before going to bed, I'll do a gratitude journal.
Yeah, that's great. I've heard of it, twofold. One is, first thing in the morning to help release, the happy chemicals, and we teach that, and also, doing it last thing at night, it helps, with the deeper sleep, and the subconscious works on often the last thoughts we're having. So if we can make them, positive and powerful in that way, that's good. With the meditation, how long do you kind of meditate for, in the morning or in the evening?
So it depends on my schedules. If I have a very early schedule, it will be a short, 10 minutes minimum every day. But if I have a later start, I might do a longer one. Then over the weekend, I do a very long one. And then my evening one is about 10 minutes. But every day, 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening. Sometimes I do different types. So depending on how much time I've got, so I do the chakra one sometimes, I do the mantra one sometimes, I do the mindfulness sometimes, the sutra meditation. So there's quite a few, and then depending on how much time I have, I'll do the appropriate one on that day.
That's fantastic. And so I think the message for our audience and our listeners is, someone who's been in the stress and well-being realm for 25 years doesn't miss their meditation twice a day, 10 minutes minimum. So it's clear there is a real benefit to some form of meditation each and every day to help. And I find it helps, ground us, reset us, balance, and just be able to then re-energize to take on whatever's needs to be dealt with next.
There's still some distance for Dawn to navigate with the lifeboat connection box. The sealed up door that was once used to retrieve valuable
is no longer fit. Okay, one moment, just put them on mute. I think someone was accidentally unmuted, so not to worry. What is one of your favorite quotes? Oh, you're on mute, sorry. One moment. Hansa, you'll just need to come off mute. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, definitely, it's got to be the change you want to be by Gandhi. And I do believe that don't wait for others to change things for you, and do what you can about it. Talking about quotes, I think I read something yesterday about Bill Gates. He was saying, don't measure your success over a month, but when you reflect back over a year, you will see that you have achieved a lot. And that really resonates with me, because sometimes I get very frustrated after a month and I think, oh, I haven't really moved forward in my project, and I haven't really done much this month, and I can feel a bit frustrated. But when I look over it over a year, you can see that actually you have achieved a lot and you have helped a lot of people over the whole year. So that resonated with me. I can't exactly remember what the exact words of the quote, but it was somewhere along those lines.
No, I think I get that, and the essence of it is the time scale is important, and not to look at a short time scale, but look at the wider horizon. And I think all of us can look back on the last 12 months and see where we were 12 months ago to where we are now, and hopefully we've all made some progress in the different realms which are important to us in that way. So yeah, and I think the other thing here with that the one you just shared with the Bill Gates one is, we're often in a world that's caught up with instant results and instant gratification, and not realizing that what we've got to do is to keep taking those consistent steps, keep plowing away, keep planting seeds, nurturing them, and waiting. And it's that timeline that then suddenly things start to happen, like the bamboo trees.
Yeah,
you plant them for 3-4 years, you don't see anything, maybe just a little sapling, but then suddenly overnight it shoots up and then keeps growing, and it's just really, really tall. And
that's a good one, Shailene. I like that.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the important thing there, to just keep taking those steps, keep heading in the direction which is the right direction, and not to give up. And what often happens is people stop or give up just before the breakthrough is kind of about to happen. So yeah, perseverance and keep moving on is the message there. Great. What is an achievement that you are proud of?
What is an achievement that I'm proud of? I think firstly I would say my children. I have a son and a daughter, and they have grown up to be good human beings, caring, loving, and warm people. So I would say that's an achievement. Achievement means different things to different people. So to me, making small positive changes in somebody's life is a big achievement for me. So when a client or a friend says something I shared has made their life better, then to me, this is a major achievement. But the cumulative impact of that could be measured through the books that I've written and the Wellbeing consultancy that I've set up that provides a framework for helping more people. These can be achievements too, but just to be able to continue to do this on a day-to-day basis, for me, is an achievement in itself, because not everybody has the opportunity to help others and make positive contributions to other people's lives. And just to be able to do that, I think, on a day-to-day basis, no matter how small that change might be, to me feels like a big achievement.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Thank you for that. What is one of your favorite books and why?
The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. It's a practical, it says a practical guide to the fulfillment of your dreams, or something like that, but that's not like a typical book that you read and you put away. You read a chapter, one chapter at a time, and you integrate the concepts of that chapter in your day-to-day life, and then you read the next chapter and then the 7 chapters, and then you start again at the first chapter until you are living and breathing those principles in your life. And the book really did turn my life around, and it's something that still that's something that I still refer to, and when I need some inspiration or I want to get back on track, I'll go back to that book.
Yeah, no, it's a classic book. I remember reading it and really loving it. And it's only about, it's a very
really
thin
small.
book.
Yeah, it's not a very big book
It's
either.
packed with, a lot of great wisdom. Can you remember any of the spiritual laws?
So I think they're basically I don't want to go into them individually, but basically they are about the law of attraction and building good karma. So the more you practice that, you are attracting what you want in your life, and about being non-judgmental and loving, and all the kind of good humanitarian things. But they're basically the laws of the universe,
Yeah,
the universal laws, and he tells you how to practice them in practical ways by meditating every day, being doing acts of kindness, those kind of things. So I haven't looked at it for some time, but like I said, I do pick that up whenever I need a bit of extra inspiration in my life.
yeah. No, I remember dipping into it a few times. I haven't touched it for a while, but it's one which my brother or my uncle had got hold of, and we've worked through that. And a couple of the laws I remember is, like you said, the law of karma. I think there was the law of karma and the law of detachment as well.
Yes,
if I remember correctly. I can't remember some
so
of the other ones.
when you make an intention, you detach yourself from the intention. So that's the law of detachment.
Yeah. And I was kind of reminded of some of those ones again over the summer during the pandemic, when I got the opportunity to take part in, I think there's a few of these going around of Deepak Chopra's 21-day meditation challenge. And then each day you get, a message on WhatsApp regarding that. And they were all tying back to, in one way or another, back to these 7 spiritual laws. So that was a reminder then of those. Excellent.
Yeah. I was looking, I usually have the book on my shelf, and I was looking for it the other day, but I think my brother-in-law's borrowed it from me, so I'll have to ask him for it.
Yes. Yeah. And
or buy him a copy, for his birthday or something.
Sure. So, Asan's asking, what's the title of the book? And the title of the book is The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 7 spiritual laws of success. So it's not just 7 laws of success, it's the spiritual laws of success.
And he's got one for children as well, which is quite good for parents. So 7 spiritual laws for children. But the one that I have followed obviously is for adults. But I think when I'm writing my next children's books, I'll probably look up the children's one as part of my research.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. That's good. So what did you learn from your parents?
What did I learn from my parents? Humility, unconditional love, just to be a good human being, it's really difficult to explain, but my parents did not say much, but you could feel that unconditional love. It was kind of electric. And when we all get together, my siblings and my parents and everybody, you can actually kind of feel that electric unconditional love. And they did not say much, but they taught us so much through their behavior. And I remember my dad saying, never show off your material wealth. It doesn't mean anything, but help people when you can. So if you've got a roof over your head and you've got 2 meals on your table every day, you've got enough, then whatever's left, try and help other people. So they were very simple, modest, good human beings, full of love. So yeah, I've just learned so much from them.
That's excellent. That reminds me of something I remember hearing by this fusion band called Kabir Cafe, Neeraj Arya's Kabir Cafe. So they're based out from India, and all they do is the music they play and the songs they sing are Kabir's poems. So Kabir was a Sufi.
Kabir, I know Kabir.
Yeah. Now for the audience as well, Kabir was I think a 14th century Sufi mystic poet, and he wrote about the life, the universe, self-realization, the divine, and all of these wonderful things that we ask ourselves, what life's about, and all of these things. And I remember the message that the guys at Kabir Cafe had said, we're often looking for lots of things and wanting a lot, but all we really need is, like you said, 1 meal, 2 meals, one for myself and one to share.
Yeah,
that's all we really need, and that I remember hearing that and thinking, yeah, that's true. All we need is enough for ourselves and some extra to be able to share. So
yeah,
that was a nice message from there. So who or what are your inspirers?
My granddaughters, I've got 3 beautiful granddaughters. Yeah, because Shailene, children, they are so innocent and so pure, and there is so much that we can learn from them. But sadly, we've lost that through adulthood and through the hustle and bustle of life. But if you just watch children when they're playing, and when I'm watching my granddaughters playing, that can be one of the most inspiring things. Or just playing with them, that's one of the most those are my inspiring moments with them, so pure and unconditional.
Yeah.
And I guess anything and anybody, so for example, my Stress to Success books were inspired by all the clients that I was working with. My memoir, The Best of 3 Worlds, was inspired by my friends because they were fascinated by my upbringing of somebody who is an Indian of Indian origin, but born in Africa as a British subject. And they were fascinated by my stories of the 3 cultures coming together, and how my identity was shaped by them. So that was inspired by my friends, and my children's books were inspired by my grandchildren. So I just get inspiration from different things, nature, everyday life, and I guess that inspiration is everywhere. If you're looking for it, it can be in anything and everything.
Absolutely.
Words people say, something that you sing. Anything and everywhere.
No, definitely. No, thank you for that. Is there any question we haven't asked that you'd like us to ask or that you'd like to answer, or is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think I've said quite a lot, unless there are any questions from the people in the audience.
Yeah, no, we will go to that point. So we're at that point for asking. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will take those. So Tracy's asked, what age children are your books aimed at? So the children's books that you've written, what age are they?
Yeah, they're age 4 till 10. And just to add, they are available on Amazon. If you just type my name, Hansa Pankhania, all my books will come up. And they're also available from my website, which is aumconsultancy.co.uk.
Yeah, so we've got the website details up there. AUM as in consultancy.co.uk. And also, you've got an ebook available on there.
Yes. Oh, yes. So thank you for reminding about that, Shailene. So we we made really good use of the lockdown, and we wrote 2 books for one book for the general public, which is called Coping in a Crisis, which was inspired by the pandemic. And we are just giving this book out free to anyone and everyone who will find it helpful. So if you go into our website, you can download it from the home page. There's also a free resources page, which has got lots of podcast videos on the kind of stress, the natural, simple stress management techniques that I have mentioned. And there's loads of free resources where you can use those techniques, and you can download the free book, which is called Coping in Crisis.
Yeah, and I had downloaded that and had a look through it, and it's good. It's got a variety of.
But it covers all the things that people may be experiencing through the pandemic, and it's got very simple coping, practical strategies. And the other thing we did was to write a book for managers, which is called Mental Health and Wealth, a guide for optimizing both for managers. And we have also set up a managers Wellbeing forum to support managers with all the problems. So if you know of any managers who are having difficulty, or anyone would benefit from the free book, please point them in the direction of our website.
No, that's great, thank you. I'm going to take a couple more questions in a moment, but I'm just going to put the poll up. So it's a very quick poll. It'll take you 30 seconds to fill out. And really, it's just asking, what is your happiness level at the end of this event compared to the start? So we did the 0 to 10, not using number 7. If you want to just take a checkpoint, what your happiness level is at the moment, and just see if it's higher, the same, or less, that'd be good. Second question, would you recommend Inspiration Point podcast? And if you would, please do let people know. And if you want to invite someone with a guest invite, let me know, and I can give you a code to guest inviting for either the next episode or the final episode that we have. So that is available. So just get in touch with me, and happy to share that. And if you know of anyone who might be suitable to take part in a future episode, we can then start planning series 4. So please do let us know and point them to the website, happylifehabits.co.uk, to fill out the form, and we can take the process from there. And if anyone who's on the session today has their own journey that they'd like to share or consider sharing, please get in touch, fill out the form, and we can take it from there. Great. So I'm going to just give you another 5 seconds to fill out the form if you still want to, and then I will stop the poll. Great. So thank you for that. So we've got two questions. So the first one is from Asan saying, you mentioned creative activities, playtime and meditation. Is there anything in particular you would advise to someone who naturally gets stressed easily?
Yes, yeah, there are some very, very simple things you can do, Ahsan. The main ones that I start off with my clients are a little bit of physical activity every day. So if you do these 4 or 5 things every day, it's very unlikely your stress is going to build up for you. So the first one is make sure you do some physical activity every day. So even if you can't go out, just do some movement in the house, walk on the spot, or run up and down the stairs, or walk around as you're watching TV, whatever. But make sure you you are moving around, most of the time. The important thing is that you address the stress that builds up in each part of your body. So the stress builds up in the physical body, it builds up in the mind, it builds up in the heart in terms of emotions. So it's making sure you work through this stress in every part of your body. So the physical body is doing the physical activity. The mind is to meditate every day. And if you go into my website on the free resources, there are many simple meditation and breathing techniques that you can do every day. The other one about the emotional bottle not filling up and bursting, I was talking about that. A very good way of emptying your emotional bottle is by using the therapeutic writing technique. So there are two ways you can do this. One is the free flowing writing. So say somebody has made you very angry, for example. So you just grab a piece of paper and you say, I'm feeling very angry because, and then just keep writing. That way you are offloading all the anger, from your body onto the piece of paper. Or you could do an unsent letter to that person. So because you're not going to send the letter, it gives you the freedom to say whatever you want to say in the letter and use whatever words you want to use. And that helps you to empty your emotional pot, because you're literally spilling all those emotions onto the piece of paper from your body. So that's a really good one. So the physical activity, breathing, relaxation, meditation, the therapeutic writing, spending time in nature is a very good one, because nature is a natural healer. It doesn't cost anything, but it's got a lot of healing energy. So, try and find opportunities to spend as much time in nature as you can. And the other one is about connecting with people. So if you tend to be the kind of person who withdraws when you are stressed, you need to do exactly the opposite. You need to make sure you call your friend and have a chat, or speak to a family member or somebody and connect with another person. So if you do those 5 things, you are making sure your physical body, you're working throughout the stress from your physical body, from your mind, from your heart, which is the emotions. You having a social connection and human connection with people, and you connecting with the greater good, the wider universe through nature. And when you do those 5 things every day, it's very unlikely that the stress will build up in any way.
Yeah.
But if you need any further help on this, please feel free to get in touch. I'll be very happy to talk about this further.
Yeah, and I'll just add a couple of bits more on there. So Asan, it's also remembering what we shared in the Gratitude and Journal course of the 4 dimensions, which Hansa just shared: the physical, the mental, the spiritual, emotional, and the spiritual and emotional and social. So it's doing things which are nurturing all of those, and it's doing the things which we had in the daily dose slide, where we're releasing the dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and the endorphins. So doing those activities which help release those and building that into, I think, so all the examples Hunter's given all tie in with that. And 2 final things on that. 2 quick things you can do to really, shift your stress. One is smile, so it's a physical activity.
Yeah, because it produces the endorphins, the happy chemicals straight away. Yeah.
And the other is breathing. So if you slow down your breathing, take deeper breaths, that will kick in your parasympathetic system, your relaxation system, and that will combat the stress. And the physical movement is the other one, again, tying in to push out the cortisol that's built up, the stress hormones. So yeah, all of those things working together.
Yeah.
I'm going to just carry on with a couple of more announcements, and then I'll come back to the final couple of questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So we've got 2 more things that we'll just share in terms of questions which have come through. So I'm just going to share the screen again and just say, a really big thank you to Balance Consultancy for sponsoring the whole series. I really appreciate that. Next week, we have Sonal Dave, who will be joining us, and she's a Toastmaster, she's a celebrant, she's a public speaking expert. She was born with congenital hip dysplasia and involved in 3 car accidents. If you want to know what congenital hip dysplasia is, come next week and we will share what that is, and we'll share the story of the 3 car accidents. She sings, she acts, but her story again unravels a few things. And she is at the moment suffering from both long COVID and fibromyalgia. And fibromyalgia is the one we learned about last week with when Mary shared. So she's making sure that next week she's not doing anything during the day, so she's got the energy to join us next week. And then the week after, which will be our final session of the series, will be with Karupa Patel, who just has had lots of different life experiences. Cabin hostess or cabin crew in an aeroplane, and gone on holiday somewhere and ended up getting a job as a dancer in a club there, and battling breast cancer as well, amongst other things. So that is our next 2 weeks of the sessions. And the Gratitude and Journal Habit Training course is available for bookings for June. The dates will be released very soon, but 1st and 2nd of June is what we're looking at for a morning session and an evening session, but I will share more on that soon. But if you want to register interest, you can. And lots of benefits, including reduction of stress from doing a regular practice of gratitude. And the usual ways to get connected with Happy Life Habits. So I'm going to stop the screen share there and just take the final 2 questions before we wrap up. And so one was from Anju Ben, just asking, how did you find moving from Birmingham to London? And the other one was from Buckleby asking, do you still sing often? So if you want to just take those 2.
Okay, yes. I think I found the actual selling, the moving part was stressful, but the settling down part was not so bad, you know. And I was very lucky that we got everything done in the house and we just got settled, and then the lockdown happened. So I was really blessed that firstly we moved in time and it wasn't protracted by the lockdown, and we had just got everything that we needed in the house. You know, literally the person came and he put the curtains in the lounge, which was the last thing. The day before and the day after the lockdown was announced. So I feel absolutely blessed that all that went very smoothly and just in time, just before the lockdown.
So literally about a year now is
yes,
since...
yeah, it was, so we moved on in January.
Yeah.
It took us a couple of months to settle down, and then the lockdown happened in March.
And the second question, are you still singing?
Well, it's been locked down, so there's been no live singing or anything, but I've done a little bit on Zoom. But obviously, because of the lockdown, not done anything live, but I've done a little bit on Zoom, yeah.
Excellent, great. No, thank you, Hansa. A really big thank you for taking the time to join us this evening for this episode. I really appreciate that. And to everyone who's joined us, really appreciate you taking the time to join us for this 1 hour of focus on positivity and inspiration. And like I'm said, you know, if you have a journey to share, or if you know of other people who've got a journey to share, please do get in touch so we can get series 4 happening later this year. And look forward to seeing you guys next week. And like I said, for next week or the week after, if there is anyone you feel you want to invite to Inspiration Point, please get in touch and we can sort out a gift invite for them for that. And yeah, take care everyone, and thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shailene. Thank you, everybody. Bless you all.